Shalom. Shalom. I'm going to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham HaKadosh. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father Nation Hebrew. Yahweh Shai is the true name of His only begotten Son. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect of Israel, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, or the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, as well as your Israelite foreigners that may look like the other nations but believe this truth. This is your brother Shakol, here with the video lesson on how America is not an independent country. It is controlled by the small hats, Amalek in the Bible, the chief house of Esau, which Amalek is the worst of the worst devil. The Edomite so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, but Amalek, the fake J's, the small hats, the little tops, are the worst people on the face of the earth. And they're the ones that control America. And for those that are watching the news, can clearly see that this is being revealed as the truth. Now, and I wanted to share this picture as well, which I thought was funny. Sure, Akim will think it's funny too. That is the title picture, the thumbnail. Just want to share it. Because the picture is worth 1,000 words, as the saying goes, or something. And so you see Trump in a maid suit serving the Israel, the king of Israel, the king of the small hats, I should say, because we're the true Israelites. Trump serving the king of the small hats, which is Netanyahu, or not a Jew. And so, but again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so, and this is biblical prophecy concerning the time specifically of World War III at the end of Esau's rule. Because the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Proverbs, the 21st chapter, and the first verse. The Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and His Son, Yahweh Shah, control all the minds, which the heart in the Hebrew is lab, which means mind, of all these kings. So that's why we're seeing all these rulers. And so that's why we're seeing the different alliances playing out exactly how the Lord said they would play out. Ezekiel 38, Gog and Magog with Russia, which is Russia, with Persia, Iran, with Gomer, which is Turkey. You got that as an alliance. Second Ezra 15 mentions the dragons of Arabia being on the scene in World War III, which is these Arab nations, and the Carmenians, which is also Iran, like Persia, which these are the players of World War III. And just like the scriptures say, which we'll get to it, that the least of the flock will draw America out, which the least of the flock is the small hats. So this is another part of the alliance of the third woe, is America with the small hats, which the small hats are the top elites of this current world society, of this devil, this beast system. They run the shots. That's why when Jake start waking up to who they are, like you see in the sports and music industry with Kyrie Irving, and Kanye West, Amalek steps in and says something. And so, and that's why the whole thing with, I'm going to try to use it, say this wisely, but anti-SEM, which is really anti-Shemitic, which that doesn't even make sense, because Esau and Jacob both stem from Shem, and it's Shem, not Sem. They say anti-SEM, but it would be anti then Shemitic, so they don't even do that right. but it shows that the small hats are the ones with the hammer. Now, it reminds me of a quote. I forget who said it, so I'm gonna look it up. Um, Basically saying you can tell who's in power by seeing who you cannot criticize. Because you can't speak the truth about someone and they stop you, that shows you they're really the ones in power. When people don't are living in a lie, what they're waking up to, seeing that their own bank account is hurting and their own so-called free country is hurting by all this money, time, and energy spent to the small hats. This is a quote from Kevin Alfred Strom, which I forget who he is, but I remember the quote. It's, if you want to know who rules over you, just look for who you are not allowed to criticize. And so that shows that the small hats rule the earth. Because who is the most wicked people that will not allow themselves to be criticized? That you get the most hate for criticizing is the fake J's. That's why there's a whole word for it, which I just said it, but I don't want to get the video to get flagged or taken down or something. So I said it anti SEM. Now, um, now I got some piece of information going into the current situation of America being in service to the small hats. Now, this is titled "Not My Tax Dollars." Where do our tax dollars go? You think about how much you pay taxes in America, and all that work you do, and you're still poor. And where is all that tax money going? Is it helping the country? No, it's not. In 2024 alone, the U.S. government sent Israel at least 17.9 billion in military funding to mass murder the Palestinian people. Israel used our tax dollars to kill an estimated hundreds of thousands of Palestinian people in Gaza, and to delete them, bring famine upon them. That's what the small hats is doing. Small hats is committing genocide, thinking that they're the true people of the Most High. When the scriptures say, when the true Israelites are in power and get back to the land, there will be no more war. They will not be afraid. Which is Isaiah, the 4th chapter. It's like Micah, the 4th chapter, and Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. Where's King David? Where's the Messiah, Yahushua, ruling the heathen with a rod of iron? Where are your streets of gold? Y'all are not the true people. Where was the great deliverance, greater than ancient Egypt, Jeremiah 16 and Jeremiah 23, that they shall say, Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands they've been scattered and brought back to the land? Where was that? Where's the new covenant? Where are your immortal bodies? Why are you looked at as a scum of the earth now that you're being revealed when this is supposed to be, when you're supposed to be the kingdom of heaven? Because y'all are the Edomites, the Idumeans, fulfilling Ezekiel 36 and 5. The Idumeans that took the Lord's land, which is our land, to your possession. And the Lord's going to destroy you. But, let's keep reading this. We're all paying the price of this genocide with our federal tax dollars. The U.S.-funded Israeli military has dropped the equivalent of nearly 7 Hiroshima atomic bombs on Gaza, accelerating climate collapse for the whole world. So seven equivalent of 7 Hiroshima atomic bombs. But you know that at the end of World War II, Esau dropped the bombs, little boy and fat man, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So this is 7 Hiroshima atomic bombs. Now, it even breaks down all that money, all that tax money sent to the small hats, what that could have done for this land, the so-called land of the free. When you're paying, when your tax dollars are going to a genocide that you don't care about for the most wicked, already rich people on the earth, that your president is kissing ass to and sucking their gonads. Hence the all the memes that are going out, which these memes are not just for entertainment and comedic purposes, but there's a message behind it, like political, like you got political cartoons is pretty much what it is. There's truth behind it, even if it's real funny. I tried to find one of the brothers posted up, one of Akim posted up, I forget where, but it was Debo from the movie Friday was Netanyahu, and it coming to basically bully Trump, and that shit was real funny, but I couldn't find it. But again, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now read on what would all that tax money do for Americans? 11,222,570 households with 1 month's free rent. So Trump don't care about your rent. 37,664,387 families with 1 month's free groceries, and Trump wants to take away these food benefits. So he'd rather feed these small hats that aren't even in this land. 6,228,253 children's free or low-cost health care for 1 year. So Trump don't care about the children in this land either. 195,440 elementary school teachers' salaries for 1 year. 50,960,854 households with solar electricity produced for a year. 473,707 students with their loan debt canceled. And think about how much more tax money is going to them since then. And is mainly funding this genocide happening on Gaza. But really, this is prophecy of not only World War III in the Middle East, but the alliances of World War III. Now, this piece of information as well. So current estimates indicate that over 700,000 to 730,000 Israeli settlers live in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. The Israeli government provides a range of funding, subsidies, and infrastructure for these settlements. So they're living off government funding in the land in our land. The Edomites in our land trodden it down pursuant to Luke 21 and 24. And while direct U.S. government funding does not explicitly go to settlements, U.S. foreign aid to Israel is substantial and contributes to the overall Israeli economy and military, which indirectly supports the settlement enterprise. And so, you think about all them tax dollars going to the small hats, while these small hats are at war, but they're living on, hundreds of thousands of them are living free on government funding. And so America is pretty much, whether directly or indirectly, paying for the small hats to live carefree with no pay, while America is a shit show, showing you how much showing you who's ruling, who's in power. It's the small hats, the chief devil, Amalek. Um, let's keep reading. Or really, that's pretty much the point. We'll read some of this. Israeli government funding. The primary source of funding for the settlements covering security, infrastructure, and public services, financial incentives such as subsidizing housing and tax breaks are offered to encourage relocation. U.S. government funding. The U.S. provides substantial foreign assistance to Israel, primarily in the form of military aid, which is funneled through specific government-to-government agreements. U.S. aid helps maintain the Israeli economy and military, effectively freeing up Israeli domestic funds for other projects, including settlements. And so, if America is so big and strong, why does it need the small hats as an ally? Why is it sucking so much nuts to the small hats? It's lucky for my French, but why does this happen? Because the fake J's get to say so. And so the Americans, this is not a free country. Y'all are ruled by the small hats. And the small hats had the biggest part in the slave trade as well. And so go to show they're the top devil. And one of the main things they hate the most is us waking up to who we are. And they'll want to make it soon that we know they're gonna start pushing the persecution on us and bring forth the famine of the word, and they want to stop free speech. There was a small head saying that. And so the famine of the word is coming as well soon. Let's get a couple more piece of information. This is from C-SPAN, titled Radio Talk Show Host Mark Levin Calls President Trump the First Jewish President of the United States. During a White House Hanukkah reception, radio talk show personality Mark Levin says, and they probably don't even know what Hanukkah is, about the rededication of the temple after the Edomite Greeks defiled and was bringing Hellenization upon us, and even in tortures. Mark Levin says, and it's an honor to be here with the first Jewish president of the United States, and if he isn't, he should be. And so he's calling Trump the first J president of the United States. So Trump is a puppet for the small hats. And it starts with, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the top elite small hats. The top elite banking families. This is the last piece of information I had. Yes, a quote attributed to Napoleon from his exile on St. Helena in 1817 records him as saying, "The Jews are a nasty people, cowardly and cruel." And so even Napoleon said it. The fake J's that are in our land are a cruel and nasty people, which is nothing but the truth, running the largest pedophilia rings. Don't know if I should have said that word out loud. Getting caught in New York. What the hell? Why the hell do they look like that? And like the way, even the way that they look is just bugged out. They do wicked things. They follow the fucking Talmud, that devilish book, which is filled with wicked rituals, which has nothing to do with the Bible. Why would you need a Talmud if you're the people of the Bible? Because they're the people of the devil. They're the spiritual demon Satan in the flesh. Even your own Edomite family hates you. The rest of the Edomites don't even like you, small hats. And Napoleon did neither. Let's read a little more on this. It's going to be a lesson in itself. But this remark was recorded in a private journal by General Gaspard Gourgaud, one of his companions in exile. Napoleon's actual attitudes and policies toward the Jays were complex and contradictory. There's a good one in here. Criticism and prejudice. Despite his liberal policies, private remarks attributed to Napoleon often reflected the prevailing anti-Semitic prejudices of his era. So he was the could have been the original anti-Sem. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good right there. Napoleon, the original anti-Sem, which is not even Sem. I said that earlier. It's Shem. It will be Shemitic. Comes from stemming from the man Shem. They don't even fucking know that, but they're supposed to be the people of the Most High. When they call it anti-Semitic, when there's no, where's Sem in the Bible? Who stems from Sem? It's Shem. One of Noah's 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. It's not Ham, Sem, and Japheth. It's Shem. He reportedly referred to the Jews, or the j3ws, I don't want to get the video cut, as the most contemptible of people, in an 1808 letter to his brother. He's basically talking shit about the small hats, as he should. Because they're worthy of shame. The small hats are worthy, but nothing but shame and chains to go into slavery under Yahushua and the true Israelites, which that's what's going to happen. Right at the end of World War III, when the Lord Yahushua is coming back, which is soon. Infamous decree in 1808, he issued a decree that restricted Jewish economic activity and freedom of movement in certain provinces, which was known as the infamous decree among the Jays. This action appeared to contradict his broader emancipatory policies and may have been a temporary political calculation to appease other interests. And so he passed the infamous decree restricting the Jays' economic activity and freedom. And so he was smart because he knew he couldn't trust these devils to run nothing and to have money. So he was like, I'm gonna pass an infamous decree restricting their economic freedom. Now, what's that word contempt? For those who don't know, contempt the definition is the feeling that a person or a thing is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn. So that is a perfect definition of the small hats, of the fake Jays. I don't even think I had to read more. Let's get the etymology. Comes from contemn, meaning from Latin con, to Latin temnere, meaning to despise. So the Edomites, the fake Jays, are people greatly despised. Call Yahweh Basham. What does it say in Obadiah? Wow, that is a spirit. Let's get that. Because the small hats are being greatly despised among these heathen. Everyone's hating the small hats, even his own people. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus said the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua, power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. And so, this Obadiah, the first chapter, is a vision, a prophecy against the Edomites, the so-called white man, which Amalek, which is the small hats, is the chief house of Esau. Verse 2, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, meaning insignificant. Thou art greatly despised. So the small hats are greatly despised, especially from those right around them. But the whole earth, the whole population of the earth hates the small hats. And so, hence, it was a wise saying of Napoleon of a people he held in great contempt. They were a contemptible people, meaning we just went into that word from Latin cone and in Latin, was it temnare, meaning despise. So they're contemptible as being a despicable people to be despised. And so that's prophecy that the small hats that Esau, Amalek, is greatly despised. And so that's spiritual. Because these devils, these are Second Thessalonians, the second chapter, I think it's the 8th verse. It says, "He who is coming is after the working of Satan." So the so-called white man is coming after the working of Satan. He does the works of Satan. Like Yahweh Shah said, "My meat is to do the will of him that sent me, the Heavenly Father Yahweh, to finish his work about my Father's business." We are to serve Yahweh Bashmil Shah, to eat this roll and speak to the sons of Israel and the sons of the living power. The so-called white man, he serves Satan, and he does he's the damn devil in the flesh. Satan inhabits him to do devilish things. And that's why Yahweh said the earth will be given to the hand of the wicked. And who is, in Job 9:24, who is the top part of the wicked is Amalek, is the fake J's. Which is why they can even tell the great whore what to do. Because it's America's the power structure over the earth. But the small hats are the individuals or the elites who pull the strings. And Yahweh ultimately, through Yahweh Shah, pulls the strings of the elites. And is going to bring them down to their hell, which is their slavery. And shake them from their heavenly places. Shake them from their power structure. Now let's get some scriptures. Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 20. "Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom." So we know who Edom is. "And his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman." Or the Temans are the Germans, the wise men of Esau. "Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them." The least of the flock is the small hats. Meaning what? The least of the flock shall draw them out. It's like my neighbor. The least of the flock is gonna draw out. The small hat's gonna draw out America into World War III. And it said the same thing in Jeremiah the 50th chapter. Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 45. "Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Babylon," and which Babylon's America. And Jeremiah 49 said Edom, showing you what, that Edom runs Babylon. It ain't talking about ancient Babylon, because the Edomites didn't run ancient Babylon. This is talking about Babylon the great whore. This is future prophecy. We're living in now World War III. So America and the Edomites would be subservient to the least of the flock, to the point where they would be drawn out to World War III to back up the least of the flock. So when we're seeing all this military aid, even these millions of U.S. tax dollars going to the small hats, it all is this least of the flock drawing them out speaking. This prophecy is speaking. Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 45. "Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." And so the small hats are going to draw out America into the third woe, and we're already seeing it, which is why America is why Trump is a small hat ass kisser, and hence all the information I just brought out is evidence. And then memes, political cartoons, if you will, were funny but quite accurate in that Trump is like the maid of Netanyahu, or not a Jew. And so y'all, Babylonians, which America's Babylon, y'all Edomites, and all you so-called all you Babylonians, that think y'all got a free country, We all thought wrong. Your destruction is at hand, and the small hats. And so, that's pretty much all I had. Hope that was edifying. With that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakadash. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, nation Hebrew. Yahweh Shai is the true name of His only begotten Son. Double honors to the elders and apostles who get millstone and rule well. And shalom to you, leg.